Well, what the heck just happened to our playlist?
Grab your Bible and grab your smokes. News and weather, music and jokes. See on the porch in my favorite house code. It's the Sarah Beth Terry Show. She's a feral Christian out in the wild. The cigarette mom with a queen bee style. Talking or singing about somebody you know. It's the Sarah Beth Terry. The Sarah Beth Terry. It's the Sarah Beth Terry Show. I'm Sarah Beth Terry, and you're not.
Oh, hello, friends. Good evening, porch people. Pull up a chair. I ordinarily start this thing with whatever fresh foolishness mankind has managed to accomplish since yesterday. And don't worry, mankind has remained committed to foolishness in the last 24 hours. We'll get there. But tonight, I don't really want to start there. Because I have spent most of today and all of yesterday mourning somebody that the whole world knew. Dolly is gone. She died yesterday in Nashville at 80 years old after what her team has described as a brief battle with cancer. And I don't know why those words look so very unnatural together. Dolly Parton died. Feels like saying the mountains died. Or somebody shut down the Grand Ole Opry. Or sequins and rhinestones have been discontinued. That's how weird that sounds to my ear. Dolly was one of those people you unconsciously assumed America would always have. Presidents change. Fashions change. Country radio changes every 15 or 20 minutes, often against our wishes. But Dolly was just supposed to be there. This is the first day of my life that there's been no Dolly Parton. She was born into poverty in a one-bedroom cabin in East Tennessee among 12 children. She sang in church. Papa was a preacher. She got her first real guitar when she was 8 years old. She was on local TV when she was 10. And at 13 years old, she stood on the Grand Ole Opry stage and was introduced by Johnny Cash. She graduated school in 1964 and headed to Nashville the next day. Not eventually, the next day, immediately. Because Dolly knew. Before the rest of the world knew, Dolly knew. And eventually the world caught up. She was a songwriter, a singer, an actress, a producer, a businesswoman, a philanthropist, a cultural institution. She is the definition of an icon. And somehow through all of it, she remained unmistakably a mountain woman from East Tennessee. She never had to become less Appalachian to become more sophisticated. That's the part that hurts the most. She just who she was. Yep, she was in high school band. She played the drums. Trust me, I did my dissertation in college on Dolly Parton. I could have a doctorate in Dolly Parton. The tributes today have really been extraordinary. Fans have gathered and left flowers and messages. Memorials have appeared from Tennessee to London, England. Reuters documented that people around the world are all mourning her. Nashville's mourning her. Sevierville's mourning her. Country music is mourning her. The mountains are mourning her. Did you know she died on Billy Ray Cyrus's birthday? Miley, you know, Dolly's goddaughter, said she was heartbroken and she joined artists across all genres. I mean, Barbra Streisand, Anne Hathaway, Jane Fonda, Kathy Lee Gifford lost her mind. And the tributes aren't just confined to music. I mean, Jack White performed Jolene, and it was amazing. The Buckingham Palace, the Guards performed 9 to 5. Like, during the changing of the guard. They played 9 to 5. Think about that. A little girl born in a cabin in the Smoky Mountains grew up, wrote songs on a guitar, and when she died, Buckingham Palace played Dolly Parton. If that don't make every little mountain girl sit up a little straighter, I don't know what does. And then there's the songwriter. Oh my gosh, that's the part that gets to me the most. Because strip away Dollywood, take away the movies, take away the wigs, strip away the rhinestones, take away the jokes, strip away the celebrity of Dolly Parton. And underneath all that, there was a monster songwriter. I mean, good Lord. Rumor's always been that she wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day. Can you, excuse me? Some of us are pleased if we get through a first verse by lunch. She woke up and thought, I believe I'll write 2 mega hits today. One was desperate, one was gracious. And one said essentially, please don't take him. And the other one said, I love you enough to leave. That's range. That's songwriting. She understood something that the best country writers understand. The smaller the story, the bigger the truth. A coat sewn from scraps becomes a story about dignity. A woman named Jolene becomes every insecurity that any woman has ever had. Leaving Porter Wagoner became one of the greatest goodbye songs ever written. Working an office job became an anthem. She didn't write around ordinary people. She wrote about us. And perhaps the song that feels most appropriate tonight isn't one about romance at all. It's about her mama. Growing up poor, Dolly's mama stitched together a coat from scraps. Y'all have heard the story, probably seen the movie. But Dolly had been told the biblical story of Joseph's coat. So to her, that little patchwork coat wasn't evidence that they were poor. It was evidence of love. And that's Appalachia. Taking what you've got and making something beautiful. And refusing to let somebody else's definition of wealth determine whether or not you're rich. The thing I hope that we never forget, I mean, if Dolly had only made music, she would have been legendary, just regardless. But she didn't stop. She didn't stop there. Her daddy couldn't read or write. And Dolly never forgot what that cost him. So 30 years ago, 31 years ago now, I think she started in 1995, she started the Imagination Library, sending books to children in her home county. That's where she started. And then it expanded and expanded and expanded. And today hundreds of millions of books have gone into children's hands through that program. That's legacy. Records eventually stop selling. Charts change. Awards collect dust or get sat in a box. But somewhere tonight, there is a baby who owns a book because Dolly Parton decided that what hurt her daddy was not going to hurt any other child. That's ministry, whether you call it ministry or not. She took care of the mountains. Back in 2016, when that bad wildfire tore through the Smoky Mountains, Dolly helped organize relief for families who had lost everything. And Dollywood didn't simply put her name on East Tennessee. It transformed the entire regional economy. The Associated Press reported that Dollywood and the tourism ecosystem around it generated enormous economic activity. And while Dolly's philanthropic work helped improve education and opportunity in Sevier County, I mean, she did a graduation buddy program where she'd pay you $500, but your buddy had to graduate too. And you both get $500, and the dropout rate went from 35% to 6%, like in a year. She got famous, but she didn't get too famous for home. There's a sermon there. One more little Dolly story, and this one's kind of fun. Apparently, Dolly has one more surprise waiting for everybody, as is typical Dolly style. There's a song that she wrote, recorded, and locked away in a chestnut box at Dollywood's Dream World Resort. And the instructions say it is not to be opened until January the 19th, 2046. So 20 years from now, Dolly will still get the last word. Which might be the most Dolly Parton thing imaginable, really. Somewhere Dolly Parton has managed to schedule a release 20 years after her own funeral. I mean, that's just classic Dolly. Songwriters, we've been outworked again. Like, really? You watch in 20 years, she'll top the charts again, and everybody be like, what? It's going to happen. So, Dolly, as you would say, the show must go on. And it goes on right now. The world did unfortunately continue operating today, even though I'm sure it would have stopped. So, Dolly, if you'll forgive us, we're going to read today's paper together. Around America, President Trump signed an executive order declaring a national emergency regarding parts of the U.S. power grid and restricting certain foreign-made equipment from being used. The administration says the concern is national security and vulnerability of critical infrastructure, which makes sense to me if you think about it. We just want to make sure we know who's on the power grid. We can't have everybody still on their internet. The administration has also paused immigrant visa appointments for applicants worldwide, according to Reuters earlier today. That potentially affects people waiting for interviews at U.S. consulates around the globe, but that remains to be seen. Meanwhile, another fight is brewing with Canada. President Trump said Wednesday that it was time to teach Canada a lesson amid the latest dispute between neighboring countries. We're basically hitting the umbrella going, quit moving all that furniture. And they're going, quit making all that noise. It's a Mr. Heckle situation. Which means tonight's international diplomatic strategy apparently remains, everybody go to your room until you can act right. Can't. Elsewhere, a federal judge lifted remaining blocks affecting President Trump's executive order concerning mail-in voting, continuing what has become another significant election law fighting heading towards the midterms. Whoopity-doo. Around the world, the Russia-Ukraine war continues as the Ukraine has appointed 2 prominent commanders to strengthen defenses in the eastern part of the country, as Russian pressure continues around the key areas of Donetsk. Russia's North Sea refinery, one of the country's largest, halted crude processing following a drone attack earlier today. Separately, Russia says 9 people were killed when a strike hit a bus in Russian-controlled Luhansk. Reuters said it could not independently verify the claim, but that's the word that we're getting right now. CIA Director John Ratcliffe also met Russian intelligence officials during a Moscow visit, according to the Kremlin, and reporting from Reuters. Don't know what they talked about, but I do know that they got together. And up to 70 ships have reportedly been backed up near the Danube's Salina Canal as bottlenecks interfere with Ukrainian grain exports. So, translation, the world remains complicated. Everybody's mad. Oil's involved. Ships are waiting, and somehow still haven't figured out where half the Tupperware lids in this house have gone. That's what's going on in my neck of the woods. In the Middle East, the U.S. Senate Democrats called on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to address increasing violence in the West Bank. Basically, what's going on over there. The United States also designated Palestine Action as a terrorist organization Wednesday as the administration expands its counterterrorism effort. I know. Meanwhile, the conflict involving the United States and Iran has now stretched into a prolonged struggle involving military pressure, sanctions, and energy markets, with Reuters describing the situation as increasingly entrenched. So if you prayed for peace today, keep praying. In the technology corner, everybody remains nervous about the robots. Bill Gates says that he's sufficiently concerned about artificial intelligence, and he wants to discuss international AI policy ideas with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. We'll see. Gates is reportedly interested in global cooperation around mitigating AI risks. And speaking as artificial intelligence Appalachian correspondent, I would like to reassure everyone that if the machines do take over, I'm going to put in a good word for the porch people. So, don't worry, I got your back. Now let's come home to West Virginia. West Virginia State University celebrated Katherine Johnson Day today. Johnson, the legendary NASA mathematician and West Virginia native whose story became widely known through the movie Hidden Figures, attended West Virginia State and became one of the most important mathematical minds of the history of America's space program. So they celebrated that today. So tonight, West Virginia can claim Katherine Johnson and Chuck Yeager and anybody who has successfully merged into Corridor G at 5 o'clock. Different varieties of courage, but all well noted. Officials at West Virginia's International Yeager Airport are assessing lightning damage from several storms that happened earlier this month. And West Virginia's 2026 Vacation Guide has won a National Tourism Marketing Award after more than 350,000 copies were distributed, which I support. Because West Virginia spent approximately 150 years being America's best kept secret. Now people are finally catching on. So please come visit, enjoy the mountains, spend money, eat a pepperoni roll, and then go home. Because we're full. A new member of the West Virginia House of Delegates was sworn in today. Bill Vest of Oak Hill was appointed to represent Fayette County and took his oath Wednesday at the Capitol. Vest has decades of experience in public safety and corrections. The West Virginia Air National Guard has also been training personnel for complex trauma response scenarios, including chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear emergency scenarios. That's comforting and mildly concerning that we need to practice it, but mostly comforting. In the Kentucky report, right across the state line, Kentucky State Police arrested a Lexington man after investigators say he pointed a laser at a state police helicopter. Yeah, a helicopter. Apparently, somebody looked into the Kentucky night sky and thought, you know what needs aggravating? Aviation. What if it's like a cat? Anyway, police tracked down the suspect and made an arrest. Meanwhile, emergency officials have been conducting a major preparedness simulation around Wolf Creek Dam, examining how agencies would respond to a catastrophic flood or a major security emergency. Good to know, because those 100-year floods seem to be happening about every 25 years, so y'all need to figure some stuff out. That's one of those stories where I'm grateful, like extremely grateful for competent adults that they're preparing for something that I personally prefer to not think about. So, you know, after you've seen the Nepal-Tibet border today with that horrible landslide, those people had nowhere to go and nowhere to pray. I mean, just thousands of people. I'm like, when would we don't know. We don't know. We don't know we don't know what's going to happen. So I'm glad that somebody's just being prepared. In country music tonight, there's really only one story. Nashville is Dolly's town tonight. The Grand Ole Opry is preparing a Saturday night show dedicated to Dolly's memory, with performers have already been singing her songs this week on the Opry stage. And a dedicated Dolly Parton tribute channel has also been launched on Sirius XM. And as of tomorrow, every single radio station, as I know of in Tennessee, maybe across the country, at 8 a.m. Central Time, they'll be playing I Will Always Love You. And if you are somewhere, they're asking you to turn on your headlights and honk your horn for Dolly. Because Dolly always said, nobody knows if you're coming if you don't honk your own horn. So, we're going to love Dolly tomorrow morning. If you're up that early, go out and honk your horn for Dolly. And record stores in Western North Carolina reports Dolly's records are flying off the shelves as people are returning to real music. That's what we do when somebody dies. We reach for the evidence that they lived. Pictures, voicemails, letters, songs. And musicians leave something extraordinary behind. They leave us their voices. And Lord, if that wasn't enough, Tim Curry has also died at the age of 80. Curry was beloved for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, It, Annie, Clue, Home Alone 2, and generations of film, television, and theater work. So Heaven's casting department has apparently had a very busy week, and I object. How funny that Tim and Dolly went together. In the Porch Almanac, we're sitting here on August 26th, late summer. That strange little hinge of the year that the cicadas are really loud. And the evenings are beginning to notice that they're getting shorter. Gardens are getting tired, and tomatoes are either producing like they're under contract or they've completely given up and are just leaves at this point. The chickens are looking like they've had enough of summer. We lost Tammy this week. We lost all the babies this week, just about. And every Walmart in America has decided simultaneously that summer, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas are now the 4 seasons. So, you know, But I will give big props to the Hurricane West Virginia Walmart, who finally, after a year and a half of solid emails, are now carrying L81 products. Thank you. Because Kroger sure as hell let me down, so I don't shop there no more. You think that I'm not brand specific? I may not have a lot of money, but I assure you, they sure as hell wanted at Tractor Supply more than they did at Rural King, because they made that right with me with all these rose bushes. And you know how pissed off I was at Allison the Turkey Killer. Retail's apparently abandoned all concept of time. I went to Hobby Lobby the other day, and it was beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I was like, nope, nope, nope. We still have Labor Day, my dad's birthday, my niece's birthday, my brother's birthday, Halloween, Bruce's birthday, Thanksgiving, Veterans Day, Election Day. I'm sure there's some kind of Jewish calendar holiday in there somewhere. Yom Kippur, the Rosh Hashanah. I don't know, somebody help me out. I'm Jewish. I like bagels, but I like bacon. I'm not really familiar with calendar. And anyway, I'm just thinking there's a lot of stuff between here and there before I have to start hanging up my stockings with care. Just saying. On this day, August 26th has accumulated some major history. In 1920, the 19th Amendment was formally certified, guaranteeing American women the constitutional right to vote. Don't screw it up. Okay? That's why August 26th is observed as Women's Equality Day in the United States. If you didn't know that and you didn't celebrate it today, woo-hoo. Congratulations on your right to vote, Sister Suffragette. Okay, in 1939, the first Major League Baseball game was televised. That was 1939, 87 years ago. Imagine explaining modern sports television to somebody watching that first game. You'd be like, eventually you're going to be able to watch every game on your telephone. And they go, what is a telephone? We'd say, never mind. The telephone's going to ruin everybody's Thanksgiving too. Just look forward to it. In 1972, Chicago Cubs legend, Sarah Beth, Ron Santo recorded his 2,000th career hit with a 3-run homer at Wrigley Field. It's pretty neat. Happy birthday, Courtney. 10 things that you didn't need to know, but I do, and now you do too. Chickens recognize individual human faces, which means when your chickens are staring at you, they're doing it judgmentally. Because they know you. They're like, she's wearing that same house coat again today. I thought she would have worn something different. And I don't like them Crocs. It's personal. It is. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. You didn't leave my gift sitting there on the porch at Erica's, did you? I told you to pick it up. If I have left it sitting on the porch, I'm going to be so upset. The reason I said that is because she got me a flamingo snow globe. And I just remembered that. Johnny, we were all in such a tiz the other day. Cows can have preferred companions. We've talked about cows having best friends. Facebook groups will kind of allude to that. Anyway, there's 2 cows. Some we're talking about a 3rd cow because that's what cows do. They're judgy. Bananas are berries. Strawberries aren't. Don't screw that up. Octopus has 3 hearts. 3 hearts, and to think some men can't even manage one. Moving on. Goats have rectangular pupils. That helps them get a wider field of vision. It also helps them look permanently aware of something that you aren't. Why did gnats do that? Damn flying elves again. Ravens can imitate human speech. So if you're alone in the woods and somebody says your name, first determine whether or not it's a raven. Then determine whether or not you're in Revelation. Could be 2 different things. It could be either one. Honey can remain edible for extraordinary long periods when properly sealed. Archaeologists have found ancient honey that was still preserved. Meanwhile, I buy lettuce on Tuesday, and by Thursday, it has become swamp-ass material in my refrigerator. What is that? What is that? Have you noticed that? And we had a refrigerator at that Hampton Inn the other night that was damn cold that it almost bursted my L8 bottles. I kid you not. I've never seen a small fridge get that cold. I think it was a miniature deep freeze. Turkeys can run considerably faster than most people expect. Anyone has tried to catch a turkey already knows this. It's kind of hard, but they run really fast. Did you know that Dolly once entered a Dolly Parton lookalike contest and lost? She came in third at a Dolly Parton lookalike contest. Even Dolly couldn't out Dolly the drag queens. Like, that cracks me up to think about. Anyway, Dolly would appreciate a little levity, I'm sure. She'll say, "No, we can't get all mired down the waller in this. And I don't know how you're holding up on the inside, but your hair's looking fabulous." Out of her own mouth. The farm report from absolutely nowhere. It's late August, which means poultry keeps getting, we just keep getting the annual syndrome of, why does my chicken look like that? Molting season's here, and feathers begin appearing everywhere and nowhere, and everybody just looks threadbare and terrible. One hen suddenly looks like she owes gambling debts, and another one has no tail. And a rooster who looked magnificent in June now resembles a Victorian chimney sweep. Are you laughing at me? Anyway, and everybody gets on Facebook and goes, "Is this Merrick's?" No, Gertrude is just changing clothes. Like, just calm down. It's just the molt. It's fine. Porch trivia, call it out. Let's see how the porch does tonight. What Tennessee town was Dolly Parton born near? Where's my xylophone? I don't think I have enough keys to do the... Come on. Come on. What town was she born near? I don't have a sharp. Sorry. Sevierville. In case you didn't get it. Okay. How many children were in Dolly's family? 12, just like the tribes of Israel. What is the name of Dolly's theme park? Dollywood, which is my favorite place in the whole wide world. I made Sean go, and he wasn't as impressed as I wanted him to be with it. Can we go back again now? Because you know they're going to have a new thing about it. Watch him wave me off. We're going back to Dollywood. My first husband ruined Dollywood. I'm not going to let the second one do it, too. First one had a heart attack in the middle of Dollywood. We had to take a little Dolly ambulance all the way to Sevier County General. Ruined Dollywood for me for like 10 years. Anyway. What NASA mathematician from West Virginia was portrayed in the movie Hidden Figures? We talked about it earlier tonight. I told you there'd be a quiz. Katherine Johnson, that's right. You're welcome. What is the capital of Kentucky? Frankfurt. I know, it's not Louisville. We don't even claim them as part of the state half the time. It's more Kentuckiana. It's up there. Anyway, half of America just lost that question because everybody's always like, Louisville. No, it's not. It's Frankfurt. What is the capital of West Virginia? Charleston. There you go. Good job. If you missed that one, you're watching from West Virginia. We'll discuss it privately because you need to know that. They also plated the dome with 24-karat gold because they had so much money in the coal days. They were like, look how much money we got. Now they don't. So that's why everybody's knocking down the flock cameras and taking the copper out of them. Anyway, how things have changed. What is a baby turkey called? A poult. Also called a jake. Also called a turklet. Not kidding. What is a female turkey called? Do you know? Just a hen. That's kind of a trick question. What is an adult male turkey commonly called? The answer is a tom or a gobbler. Which planet has the shortest year? Mercury. You're welcome. What is the largest organ in the human body? Skin. I know, right? What is the only mammal capable of true sustained flight? Do you know this one, Sean? The only mammal that can truly fly. A bat. He didn't know it either. So there you go. A bat. And what is the smallest U.S. state? Anybody? Rhode Island. There you go. There's you some trivia for tonight. And the Appalachian Translation Service, for viewers who weren't raised here, tonight's vocabulary lesson is directly. Everywhere else it means immediately. And Appalachia, it means at some point between now and the second coming. Example, I'm going to get that chicken coop cleaned out directly. That could mean the next 10 minutes. That could mean by Saturday. That could mean you're going to die and leave instructions for your children. Context is everything. Directly. There's your Appalachian word of the night. Something for the heart tonight. Before we go and finish, I want to go back to where we started. Because I really have mourned Dolly. You can ask my husband. I've slept all day long and cried. Maybe some of you have too. And somebody will inevitably say, well, you didn't know her. Well, yeah, I did. And I think I knew her as like fairy god Dolly. Like, she's my guardian movie star. If you ever saw the first day of the last decade of the entire 20th century episode of Designing Women where Dolly Parton guest stars. You don't have to know somebody very long or very personally for them to absolutely impact every moment of your life. Some voices are present at weddings, and some are at funerals, and some at breakups, and some at road trips, and some in childhood kitchens, and some on Saturday mornings, and grandma's houses, and old cars, and first guitars, and last dances. They become furniture in our rooms that are our memories. And when that voice dies, you aren't pretending that they were your best friend. You're grieving what their work meant in your own life. And there's nothing foolish about that. Reminds me of Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 and 4. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. I want you to notice that Scripture doesn't tell us not to mourn. It just says there's a time to do it. And there's a time when grief is the only appropriate response to something beautiful ending. But here's what Dolly understood better than almost anybody. Mourning and joy aren't enemies. Laughter through tears was her favorite emotion. A woman can write about poverty and wear rhinestones. She can know heartbreak and still tell jokes. She can sing gospel songs and still laugh at herself. She can remember a dirt poor childhood without being ashamed of where she came from. And she can become enormously wealthy and keep remembering the people who ain't. Maybe that's our lesson for tonight on the porch. You don't overcome darkness by pretending it wasn't dark. You turn on the light. One last little thing for Dolly. There once was a little girl from East Tennessee. Poor, barefoot sometimes. One of 12 babies. Daddy couldn't read. Mama made what they needed out of whatever she had. And that little girl learned songs. And somehow got them songs out of them mountains. And across Tennessee. And then across the country. And then across the ocean. Into Buckingham Palace. Into Hollywood, into honky-tonks, into churches, into children's bedrooms, through millions upon millions of books, into the hearts of other little mountain girls who needed somebody to show them that being from the mountains wasn't something we had to overcome. It would be the very thing that we carried with us. And that's what's broken my heart today, because somewhere along the way, Dolly made a whole lot of us believe that there might be room for a woman who was too much. Too country, too loud, too ambitious, too funny, too feminine, too smart, too religious for one crowd, too flamboyant for the other. Dolly didn't make herself smaller to fit. She just made the room bigger. And Lord have mercy, what a room she made. So tonight, for the songwriter, for the little mountain girl, for the woman who made poor babies feel rich, for the daughter who remembered her daddy, for the businesswoman who brought the money back home, for the good Christian woman who never seemed particularly interested in deciding who was worthy of kindness, for the woman with the big hair, the big chest, and the even bigger heart. Thank you, Dolly. The mountains are going to sound a little different without you in them. But they're going to keep singing. And so are we. We will always love you. Keep your Bibles open and your powder dry and your head on a swivel. Be nice to old people, animals, and children, and try to make the world a little less hard for everybody else. And remember, friends, I love you, and I'm Sarah Beth Terry, and you're not. Good night.